of Steel, Man of Steel.
Hey, you don't tug on Superman's cape. Reloading Weatherby, you dirty dog. What do you want?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth. The deal is I have these memories of just a handful of factory guns that would really hammer. Like they would really hammer. But it's interesting. They were all in known inherently, which that's a horrible word, known inherently accurate cartridges. So that brings up a whole nother subject you realize. And again, it's a truth people don't want to hear. There are certain cartridges that are just more accurate than other cartridges. So gun to gun to gun, it doesn't matter, right? Gun to gun to gun. If you want to walk in a store, any store, and buy an over-the-counter gun, and let's just say you want it to shoot 1/2 inch, buy a 308 Winchester. Buy a 308 Winchester because the odds are, of all the different ones you could buy, it'll shoot. Now, and I know we're going to have another conversation later about cartridges, but you know another cartridge that nobody talks about, but that you do sometimes on your channel? Of the bigger cartridges that we build here and of guns that we've worked with, go ahead and see if you can guess.
28 Nosler.
Well, no, it's a super accurate, yep, but no, 300 WSM.
Right, of course.
300 WSM. If you have a 300 WSM and you put Berger 210s in it, and you put those Berger 210s out against the rifling, if it doesn't shoot, say 3/4 of an inch, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the gun. And if it's a custom gun, we should have printed some of this stuff off. It's kind of a shame. I have a bunch of, people send me targets and stuff to put up after they get their gun. I have probably 3 or 4 different 300 WSMs set up for Berger 210s that'll shoot like under 1/4 of an inch. And I mean 5-shot groups.
Yeah.
Like you shoot 5 shots and you can only tell 2 went through the paper. So that's a super accurate cartridge. Another one nobody talks about is 7-rem short action Ultra Mag. Nobody talks about that cartridge except the really knowledgeable shooters. The deal is if you build one of those or if you buy one, same deal, 180 grain Bergers against the rifling. If it doesn't shoot 1/2 inch, something's wrong. Your scope is wrong, whatever, there's something wrong. So a truth nobody wants to hear is factory guns are pretty much junk. They just are. But it's almost like the casino. We know that if everybody who went in the casino won, the casino wouldn't be in business. So what do? 99 people go in the casino and lose. One person comes out like, "Woo, I just won $1 million," right? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing with factory guns. For the most part, they don't shoot. And another truth is trying to get them to shoot. Another thing to get them to shoot is pretty much a waste of time. And I know people don't want to hear that, especially like the guys on your channel, they don't want to hear that. And I kind of understand that because back when I was learning that lesson, which I learned things the hard way, unfortunately. I remember spending, because like I said, I had a range at my house. My neighbors didn't like me. I wouldn't say they didn't like me. They didn't like what I did because I'd start shooting in the summer. Sometimes I was shooting at 6 a.m. because I wanted to be there dead calm. I could shoot at night. I had lights on my targets. I mean, I was obsessed with this stuff. I'd start at 6 a.m. I was still there at midnight, and I never quit the whole day. I didn't get a drink. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't get anything to eat. I just sat there and tried to answer the question that a lot of guys think is a valid question, which isn't, is can I get this piece of junk to shoot? And the answer, again, the truth, 99% of the time is no. No, you're wasting your time. And all of those bullets and powder and primers. Now, again, I want to put this in context. If the goal of all that work is to get the gun to shoot in one hole, it's a total waste of time. But if you want to learn, like you're trying to gain knowledge, It's the school of hard knocks. How could you learn better? Because you're getting to experience. If you do what I did in those years, you can experience more in a week of nonstop shooting than a guy that's 70 years old did his whole life, just by putting a shell in and shooting it. You know what I mean? So factory guns are junk. For the most part, working with factory guns is stupid, what I call it on a thing, fool's errand, because it really is. It's just burning up time, energy, and money. Now, the next part of this, again, that people don't want to hear is custom guns are expensive, yes, but they're mostly expensive because of the components. But here's the upside of it. If you walk in Sportsman's Warehouse or Cabela's, whatever, and you pick a gun off the shelf, you don't know what you have, right? So let's just assume it's probably a piece of junk. But you could be that one lucky guy that it shoots, right? All right, that's a gamble. And if you don't mind playing that game, that's fine. The deal is with custom guns, there is no gamble. Well, there is no gamble depending on who you get them from, right? Because that's the deal. So, which I didn't intend to go down this road, but that's how we ended up shooting every gun. So if you want, and again, I might have told this on another video, the way that I ended up building custom guns is by buying custom guns and having bad experiences. All my initial custom guns experience were all bad. They were all bad. I had people, because I would tell them, back in those days, this gun needs to shoot 1/2 inch, because that was like 1/4 inch nowadays, right? And by the way, that's exponential. People don't realize that. For a gun to shoot 1/2 inch, to go to 1/4, that's not twice as good. It's again, I'm explaining this bad because I'm not a math guy, but that's like 10 times harder to get a gun to shoot 1/4 inch. Maybe it's even 100 times harder because you're asking so much more of it. But back in those days, a gun that would shoot 1/2 inch, that was an exceptional gun. You didn't really hardly have 1/4 inch PPC bench guns, yes. But other than that, you didn't have it, right? So with custom guns that are built properly with proper components where the person shoots them, you've eliminated the gamble. It's not a gamble anymore. Because it's something else that I try to communicate and people don't ever seem to understand. If you tell me, show them that gun over there, which that video of that gun just went up. So if you say to me, I want a gun like that'll put 5 shots in 3/10 inch, we can guarantee that. It's like it will put 5 shots in 3/10 inch. And the way you guarantee that is you just don't quit. You just don't quit. So, and people never understand that when I say that. Because that's like speaking volumes when I say you don't quit. See, just because you do all of that and you buy the best of everything, the one great unknown is still this. It's still an unknown, right? So, and here's the downside of it is all the work comes first. Because again, trust me, the guys have been trying to, all right, wait, I'll slow down. Here's this barrel. There it is. There you go. There's your $500 barrel. Now tell me, is that a good barrel?
Depends on how you qualify a good barrel.
And well, okay. Is that a Hummer?
Probably not.
You don't know. See, the correct answer is I have no idea.
Right.
Okay, and so here's how guys try to find out, right? I will dry patch it. I will wet patch it. I have slugged them. I do believe there's a lot to learn by slugging them, but that is a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put into that. If you're only building 1 or 2 guns and say it's your own personal guns and you're trying to set world records, slugging them might be an advantage.
Can you
realize
tell me what slugging is?
Pardon me?
Can you tell me what slugging is?
Pouring a lead lap, literally on the end of a rod. In other words, pouring molten lead into the end of it on the end of a rod and then pushing that slug through. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to find spots where there's either constriction or I don't know what's the opposite of constriction. A larger spot. I don't know what the opposite of a constriction is. And so You can feel it.
Okay.
You can feel it. But I tell you, honest to gosh, I can feel it with either dry or wet patches also. So if there's a bad spot in there, you will feel it. And there is a school of really good gun builders that always lap their barrels, right? I have done this all these different ways. I kind of look at it like I have to patch them all out anyways. When you get, that's something a lot of guys don't know. When you get a brand new barrel, a lot of times these are full of crap. Like there's all kind of machining stuff in them and everything. So I flood them. I'll just use like a can of WD-40 with a straw on it. Just flood the heck out of it. Then I start pushing patches through it. And as you're doing that, you can feel it. And so what are you feeling? You're feeling it, if it's uniform, like in other words, the amount of pressure is the same from here to here, right? It's the same, like you're pushing it through. Okay, I'd call that a good barrel. Then a bad barrel would be you're pushing it and somewhere along there, it goes like that. And it's like, what the heck was that? If I feel that, I won't even use the barrel. If I feel something that dramatic in there, you can also feel if it's smooth and then if it like suddenly gets rough, like a rough spot, in all likelihood, that's a bad spot in the steel, which I see bad spots in steel even when I'm turning on the outside, like a hard spot. Same deal. If you're trying to set records, I wouldn't use that barrel. Now, again, the problem with guns is you always have to quantify everything. I have saw guns that had horrible barrels that hammered. I mean that, just hammered. I remember a certain Ruger Red Pad M77, the barrel looked and felt, it looked like he did it with a chisel. I'm not joking. It looked horrible, and that gun hammered. Huh. So what that means, I don't know, but back to the barrel. And then the ultimate way is, which everybody nowadays has a bore scope, is to bore scope it and just look through it and see what the heck you've got in there, right? But the whole issue is, the truth is that you have a brand new $500 barrel. You have no idea if this is any good or a total piece of junk. You have no idea. And it could be a total piece of junk. Now, this is a Bartlein barrel. The chance that it is not very good. It's probably a really good barrel. Because all these guys are the really high-end guys, you know, and I don't need to say names, but the three we use is Krieger, Bartlein, Brooks. But I have used Schillen, and I've used Hart, and we used Lilja, I think. I can't remember all the ones I've used. And some of them were great, right? Some of them were great. But every now and then you get a bad one. Even from good guys, you get a bad one. And they don't know why either, by the way. That's an interesting thing. You'll talk to them and they're like, yeah, we don't know. Send it back. Send it back. You know, and they just start over and make another one supposedly exactly the same. And one hammers and one doesn't. I'm getting off track here. So we're sticking to the truth. The deal is you don't know whether the barrel is good or not. So it's the same deal with those factory guns. You buy them, it could be a total piece of junk. But for all you know, you got a great barrel. You get the one that shoots. The deal with custom guns is if the right person's building it, and if they shoot it and they guarantee it, you know what you're getting. So, you know, like a lot of guys in your comments will be like, oh, $6,000. Well, that's a lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money. I totally agree with that. But I always have to digress. You might know this name. You know who Darcy Eccles is? Darcy Eccles is in Utah. He's down by you. He builds high-end custom guns. His base gun's $35,000.
Okay.
$35,000. So is $6,000 really a lot? Yeah, it's a lot of money. And then there's guns that go way above that, you realize. When you have Holland and the real high-end name guns, there's shotguns go $200,000 or more.
Yeah.
So everything's relative. But here's what I want to get to with that. You walk in the store and you buy a gun. You bring it out. You don't know whether it's going to shoot or not. You got to put a ton of time, energy, and work into it, maybe, to find out if it's going to shoot, because it's not a guaranteed deal. So if it doesn't shoot, the smart thing to do is just sell it. Get rid of it. You know, and be honest. Tell the guy this is a half-inch gun. I mean, inch-and-a-half gun. You know how many people don't care about that?
Right.
They don't care. It shoots inch and a half. Right? So they'll be like, okay, yeah, and give them a good deal on it. But for the accuracy end of it, To my way of thinking, the $6,000 gun is actually a better deal because it's guaranteed.
Peace of mind.
No, it's more than just peace of mind. If, show them Doug here. That's Doug's gun over there, right? Doug's here to pick up his gun. Show them the targets. Grab those targets out of there. Again, we showed these on another video. But the thing is, there's the groups. So you already know what you're getting before you get it.
With no load development.
Right. There's no unknown factor. The only unknown is how much better than that can it shoot? Because that's another truth, by the way. We're bringing up truths here. You know that almost all guns shoot better to a point. In other words, a brand new gun, this is good actually. You know how many times we'll put on our targets, or I'll say right on camera, this is shot number 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, whatever. I don't think half the people even understand why I'm saying that. If the first 5 shots on paper, say you had to get 1 to get on, right? Your first 6 shots out of the gun. If the first 5 of them go 0.3, well, you know there's nothing wrong with the gun.
Yeah.
Okay? You know you have a good barrel. All these things you know. But what you also should know, if you're an experienced shooter, is it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get a lot better in those first 50. But then it's even going to get slightly better up to maybe 100, somewhere in that range. And then, again, more truth. There will be a spot somewhere between 100, and depending on what cartridge it is, to about 500. There's going to be a window right in here where it's going to stay pretty static, right? But it's going to improve from 0 to 100. Again, we're just talking in rough terms here. Then there's going to be this spot in here where it's pretty much the same. And then, depending on the cartridge, 5, 6, 7, 800, then it's going to slowly start to taper off. Now, again, more truth. I have saw guns that had, and it depends on the cartridge, I saw 7 mags that had 1,500 shots through them, and there was no rifling. There was no rifling at all for 5 inches. By the way, I'll show you that. There was no rifling at all for 5 inches. They still shot half-inch groups because it was a phenomenal barrel to begin with. You know what? I don't know if I can dig this out of here. You know what? While we're talking, one of you guys mind come over here and dig these out? There's barrels back there that are sectioned. Not you. We're on camera.
All right.
I don't know what this is. That's nice jeweling on that bolt.
Remington 700.
No, not those. The ones that are down on the ground. You can edit this if you need to, Vicky. They're right there. See the ones that are sectioned? Watch it. Easy. Yep, that's one. Is there another one there? Yep, there's 2 of them there. Thank you. That's it. All right, so we just needed help getting these out of here, but look at these section barrels. Show her that and show the camera that. So the idea is you can look in there and you can see exactly what the chamber looked like, what the throat looked like, how much rifling is left. But this one, I'm going to show you this one. I used to know. This had, I don't know what, this had like over 1,000 rounds in it, I think. Look at that. There is basically no rifling. The rifling's pretty much just not there. You can still sort of see where it was, but it's like a shotgun barrel. It's smooth, right? What's amazing is on really good barrels, that some of them still keep shooting. But when I say keep shooting, it's tapering off.
Right.
It's kind of weird with barrels. Also, depending on what cartridge it is, they'll go 2 ways. Either they'll go gradual, and it just gets a little worse, a little worse, a little worse, or they'll go sudden. Like it's shooting, say, 1 inch, and 2 days later, it's shooting 3 inches. And that's it, it's gone. So I mean, that's another truth, by the way, that it's really hard to get into people's minds. Barrels are highly perishable. I mean, it's a super perishable thing. It's almost like buying bananas. It's like, okay, here it is. It's good today. Well, 3 days from now, it's not going to be any good. And so that's something else. I mean, geez, I could go on forever here. When you're picking, say you're a real shooter, right? And you're really going to shoot. Well, it's stupid to pick 28 Nosler, because you're not going to get any life out of it, right? If you really want to shoot a lot, pick 6BR. Pick 6BR or 6GT like that over there, or 308 Winchester. I've known people that have 4,000 or 5,000 rounds to a 308 Winchester, still shoots half-inch. So they just last forever. So that's another thing. You have to decide what cartridge that you're going to pick and what the intended use of it is. You want to talk about on muzzle stuff now?
Do you want to do another video on that?
Yeah.
Or
That's up to you.
how long have we been going?
Yeah, it's been 35 minutes, and you have 20.
Well, we need an ending. How you want to end this? You end it. Look in there and say something. I don't know what.
What has always attracted me to your channel is it's always been about the barrel.
Oh,
You
yes.
have a saying, it's the barrel stupid.
Yeah, it's absolutely the barrel. The barrel is the single most important thing. And that's where, so we come full circle. That's why I'm telling you that factory guns, as an all-encompassing huge statement, generally don't shoot. Because how can they? Just the barrel costs $500. So how can they sell a gun for $500 and you expect it's going to shoot in one hole? If you really comprehend that, you begin to realize how much of a miracle it is when you get one, because some people do,
Right.
when you get one that really hammers. That is such an outlier. But for the most part, factory guns are just junk. So that's where we'll end this one. Factory guns are junk, don't buy them.